welcome on board Shveta Arya, MD at Cummins India, joining in on the show right now. Shveta, firstly, congratulations. It's a great set of numbers. You've delivered strong domestic sales growth, up a good 25%, and even stronger export growth of 34%. Tell me, what were the key product segments or rather end markets that actually drove this exceptional performance for you?
So from a last quarter perspective for us, the growth that we got was quite broad-based. In the domestic market, we saw growth in power generation, different segments of power generation, infrastructure-related segments, mission-critical segments like hospitals and airports. We saw growth across those segments, including data centers. In the industrial business, we saw steady growth in segments like construction and mining and compressor, and some really good growth in railways. And then our aftermarket business, the distribution business, also saw steady growth across the different segments that it operates in. So that was about the domestic market. And from an exports perspective, the growth came in from various markets around the world where we provide our products.
Right. And Shveta, you also mentioned that growth is broad-based and looks sustainable. Help us understand what gives this confidence, since overall you've said you're cautiously optimistic. Which specific segments do you expect to be the biggest contributors going ahead?
So we believe that the domestic market in India, given that the infrastructure spend is still continuing, and the power demand, the backup power demand in the country, based on those two factors, we do see growth in the power generation segment and also in the industrial segment going forward. And of course, our distribution business caters to all these segments in the aftermarket. And so they have those opportunities as well. So we do see all this demand in the domestic market giving a boost to our business. From an export perspective, we are very cautious because geopolitical tensions and all that we are seeing happening around the world, that still continues, and we have to evaluate the impact of that. So that is why our outlook is cautiously optimistic on the growth going forward.
All right, so cautiously optimistic going forward. Hi, Shveta. Morning, this is Shrishti also joining in. But your EBITDA margin did expand to 21.4%. That's a quarterly high number. But what were the main drivers for this, if you can help us understand? And was it primarily due to the operational efficiency, or factors like volume leverage and product mix also had a role to play?
Actually, all of these played a role. We did have volume leverage coming in because we had good volumes in this quarter. Because the growth was very broad-based, the product mix was favorable and that definitely gave us a good boost. And then operational efficiencies, which is continued effort to make sure that we optimize our costs. So all three of them played a role in these margins being the way they are in the quarter that just went by.
Sure, but Shveta, help us understand, is this margin level sustainable for the remainder of this financial year?
The margins, because it is a function of the product mix, the volume leverage, as I was just explaining. So the product mix can change from quarter to quarter. Definitely on the export side, we are a little cautious on how that will move around the world in different geographies. Domestic market demand will continue, but given all these moving factors, how volume will turn up and how the product mix will turn up will determine the margin mix. Our endeavor will be to keep them at this level.
All right, Shveta, your exports grew at a faster pace than the domestic sales in Q1 yet again. Which geographies are performing well for you, and what's the outlook for the rest of the year, especially with US tariff uncertainty at hand?
So on the tariff uncertainty, we are still evaluating the impact of that. But since we provide our products to various markets, we are quite diversified in our export portfolio. You asked that which markets are showing that growth, and every quarter that changes. In the quarter that went by, we actually saw growth coming in from almost all the markets in which we operate. But that being said, we cannot really say if this trend will continue, because export growth also comes on a much lower base as compared to the domestic growth. And that's why the percentage growth looks far higher, but it is on a much smaller base. So we did see, barring one or two geographies, almost all geographies placing orders, and we were able to fulfill those. But that's not really a trend that we can predict or fall back on.
Okay, and let's talk about your Capex plans. You've said you're continuing to invest in a similar trajectory as seen over the last 2 years. Would it be possible to provide a specific figure for FY26 if you could quantify that a little bit for us? Also, what's your outlook on private Capex returning since your peers have had very diverse commentary this time around?
We on the private Capex, first of all, our belief is that private Capex has been difficult to kick in, largely because everyone is seeing the geopolitical situation around the world and probably being cautious, although the government is putting in efforts to help the private Capex to kick in. So difficult to say how that will move for sure at this point in time. From our internal perspective, we have been consistently investing in our manufacturing setup to make sure that, one, we upgrade our lines, to expand our lines to cater to both domestic and export demand, to bring in new technology as the need is in the market. So we've been doing all of that, and that is what we expect to continue to make sure that we are able to cater to the demand that we see in front of us. So largely in line with what we have been doing, we will continue investing.
And lastly, Shveta, in the previous quarter, you told us that you are continuously evaluating the needs in the new energy business, but what's the update on this front?
Absolutely. So in the new energy space, we have recently launched our battery energy storage system. Across different nodes, we have launched this product very, very recently. So we are trying to meet our customers and to generate leads for that product, ensuring that our customers understand the value that we bring to the table in a product space like that. And for a long period of time now, for a few quarters, we have had products like the dual fuel kit available for our customers, which we've been selling in the market, which allows our customers to utilize both diesel and gas as an energy source for their gensets. So these are the key ones that we have been foraying into.
Okay, Shveta, thanks so much for talking to us and taking the time out to highlight the quarter gone by and your outlook going ahead as well. Appreciate your time this morning. Well, let's move on from that. Before we talk about commodities and bring on Ashesha, I just want to quickly mark the recovery we've seen in the market, about a 0.5% uptick